On What's Trending segment of the morning show, emotions took over the studio in a way many viewers never expected. Ojy Okpe could barely hold back tears as she narrated the heartbreaking story of a mother whose life changed forever in just a few seconds. According to reports, a reckless driver who was allegedly teaching his girlfriend how to drive lost control and crashed straight into a residential building, leading to the painful loss of 3 innocent children instantly. The atmosphere in the studio became heavy as Ojy struggled to continue speaking while trying to process the tragedy. Even Ruben Abati reacted strongly, calling for the immediate prosecution of those responsible for the incident. The shocking story has now sparked massive reactions online, with many Nigerians demanding justice and stricter punishment for reckless driving. My people, this is one story that will touch your heart deeply because it reminds us how one careless decision can destroy an entire family forever. Watch this emotional moment first, and I will be right back with my full analysis, reactions, and everything Nigerians are saying about this painful incident. Now watch the video.
Before we take our good news report, I'd like to highlight this devastating story from River State, where in an emotional plea, a woman and mother, identified as Amarachi Promise Esomunu, is crying for justice after her 3 children, aged 10, 4, and 3, were brutally killed after getting rammed into by a car. According to the woman, a man was teaching his girlfriend to drive and suddenly lost control of the vehicle, which then drove into her residence where her kids were staying. Let's take a look.
This is where we're standing. How we connected to the road, and this was where the accident started from. Are you seeing it? I lost my 3 kids, all because of careless people. All because of careless driving, and they're not saying anything about it. They should not let this thing just go free like that. They should not just allow this thing go like that, though. If they are sweeping all that, but the lives of my kids will not just go like that. The life of my kids will not just go like that. The police are not saying anything. They are not taking anything about it. This is where I lost them. This is where I lost them. This is where I lost them.
This is a complete nightmare. The woman accused the River State Police Command of ignoring her calls for justice, but late on Tuesday, the State Police Public Relations Officer, Blessing Agbe, said they've ordered an investigation. I mean, this is so sad, but I can't even imagine 3 children.
The worst possible tragedy that can touch any human being.
Right.
And I think what just makes the whole scenario so painful is that they were in their house minding their business. You know, they hadn't gone out. Your home is supposed to be the place where you're safest. We ask ourselves, what's going on? We're reporting on children who are being abducted from school. So it almost seems like once law and order breaks down, there's just nowhere that we're safe. And in this instance, the report is saying that it's a boyfriend who was teaching his girlfriend how to drive. I mean, what kind of ridiculous thing is that? But then when you also look at the living arrangement there's a conversation to be had about our town planning. And you know, we often have this conversation in jest about how a lot of the cities we see are not really fit for purpose. That you ask yourself, what was the plan around developing this town, putting this structure next to this structure and so forth? Because usually when cities are developed, there's proper blueprints that are put. These are residential areas, these are this, these are that. But all of that has fallen apart and it has led to this massive tragedy. Justice must be served. That man must be picked up, and his girlfriend who he was driving with, because as she said, the lives of her 3 children cannot go just like that. Absolutely. They certainly cannot.
Absolutely. We're calling on the River State Police Command.
Tragic is that the gentleman who was driving the car was said to have been giving his girlfriend driving lessons at 8 p.m. What kind of sane or insane human being will be teaching someone else how to drive on a major road in town at 8 p.m.?
All right.
I thought that the best place to go and teach learners will be on a field, away from, dangerous zones. And now you have this. I agree with you. That person and the girlfriend should be apprehended and made an example out of.
Right. There are no words to comfort this mother. May their souls rest in peace.
What happened on the show today left many viewers emotional because it was not just another trending story people could easily move on from. The pain in the voice of Ojy Okpe said everything before she even finished narrating the incident. You could tell that the entire studio was shaken because stories involving innocent children always hit differently, especially when their lives are lost because of pure carelessness. Imagine being a mother inside your home, believing your children are safe, only for disaster to suddenly break through your wall without warning. According to the report shared on the program, the driver was allegedly teaching his girlfriend how to drive. Instead of using an open field, a driving school, or a safe environment, they reportedly chose a residential area. In a split second, control was lost, and the vehicle rammed into the house where the children were. Sadly, the 3 kids lost their lives immediately. The moment the story was being explained on air, the expression on the faces of everyone in the studio changed completely. Even viewers at home could feel the sadness through their television screens. Ojy tried to continue speaking professionally, but emotions took over her completely. She paused multiple times while fighting back tears because some stories are simply too painful to deliver without emotions. Many Nigerians online have since reacted with anger and frustration because this tragedy could have been avoided. People are asking the same question. Why would somebody who is still learning how to drive be allowed behind the wheel in a crowded residential environment? That single decision has now destroyed an entire family. One thing that made the discussion even more emotional was when Reuben Abati strongly stated that the people responsible must face prosecution. According to him, this should not just end as another news headline that people discuss for 2 days and move on from. He stressed that accountability is important so that other people will learn serious lessons from this painful tragedy. And honestly, many Nigerians seem to agree with him. Social media has been flooded with reactions from people calling for justice for the children. Some people said reckless driving has become too common in many parts of the country. Others blamed poor enforcement of traffic regulations. Some even shared personal experiences of how they narrowly escaped similar situations in their own neighborhoods. One thing that stood out during the conversation was how deeply everyone connected emotionally to the mother's pain. Losing one child is already devastating beyond words, but losing 3 children at once is something no parent should ever experience. Many viewers said they could not even imagine what the mother must be going through emotionally right now. This tragedy has also reopened conversations about how driving is handled in Nigeria. Many people pointed out that some individuals learn how to drive in unsafe places without proper supervision. Instead of registered driving schools, people often rely on friends, family members, or partners to teach them on busy streets and within residential communities. Unfortunately, situations like this show how dangerous that can become. Some Nigerians online even argued that both the driver and the person being taught should face legal consequences if investigations confirm the reports. Others believe there should also be punishment for negligence because innocent lives were involved. As the discussion continued on the program, you could sense the frustration from the presenters. It was not just about the accident itself, but about the preventable nature of the tragedy. The feeling in the studio was that this was not one of those unavoidable accidents people sometimes blame on fate. This was seen by many as a result of poor judgment and irresponsibility. Stories like this also remind people how quickly life can change. One moment, children are inside their home playing or resting, and the next moment, everything is gone forever. That reality is why so many viewers became emotional while watching the program. Some reactions online also focused on the psychological trauma the mother may face moving forward. Losing children suddenly in such a violent manner can leave emotional scars that may never fully heal. Many Nigerians offered prayers and words of comfort to the grieving family, while hoping they find strength during this painful period. Another major issue people discussed was the importance of stricter driving education. Some argued that obtaining a driver's license should involve tougher practical training and more accountability. Others said authorities need to crack down harder on reckless driving and unsafe driving practices before more innocent lives are lost. One social media user wrote that many Nigerians underestimate how dangerous vehicles can become in the hands of inexperienced drivers. Another person said this tragedy should serve as a wake-up call for families who casually allow untrained individuals to practice driving in populated areas. During the program, you could also notice how quiet the studio became after the story was narrated. Sometimes silence says more than words. Everyone seemed to be processing the tragedy at the same time. It was one of those rare moments on live television where emotion completely overshadowed politics, entertainment, and every other trending topic. And that is why this particular story has continued gaining massive attention online. People are not reacting because it involves celebrities or politicians. They are reacting because it touched something deeply human. The victims were innocent children who never had the chance to defend themselves against the careless actions of adults. A lot of viewers also praised Ojy for showing genuine emotion on air instead of trying to hide it. Some people said her tears reflected exactly how many Nigerians felt while hearing the story. Others said moments like this remind viewers that journalists and presenters are human beings too. Meanwhile, calls for justice continue growing louder. Many Nigerians now want authorities to ensure a proper investigation is carried out. People are demanding transparency and accountability because they believe tragedies like this should never happen again. This incident also highlights the importance of responsibility whenever someone gets behind the wheel. Driving is not a game or a casual activity. One mistake can destroy multiple lives within seconds. Sadly, that painful reality is exactly what this family is now facing. As more details continue emerging, many Nigerians are hoping the grieving mother receives emotional and psychological support during this difficult time. Some community members have reportedly begun discussing ways to support the family as they mourn the painful loss of the children. The tragedy has also become another reminder of how fragile life truly is. Nobody wakes up expecting disaster to happen. Nobody expects ordinary moments to suddenly become life-changing nightmares. Yet, situations like this continue reminding people how important caution and responsibility are in everyday life. For many viewers who watched the emotional segment on the morning show, this was more than just television discussion. It became a national moment of reflection about safety, responsibility, and the painful consequences of reckless behavior. And as Nigerians continue reacting online, one thing remains clear. People want justice for those innocent children, and they want stronger awareness so that no other family will ever have to experience this kind of heartbreaking pain again.